Pizza guy was super creepy.
Megaera is the 5th boss of Throne of Thunder, and up front it has a lot of complicated various abilities because of the number of heads that it spawns, but there is just a simple strategy that you can generalize and apply every time you fight the boss. The overall boss loses its life 14% per head that's killed, so essentially the boss boils down to after 7 heads are killed, you've killed the boss. On Heroic, there's 4 different types of heads: Flame, Frost, Venom, and Arcane, and heads are either in front on the shore edge or out into the back, and depending on if they're up front or out the back, they do different abilities depending on the number and type of head. Every time a head is killed, it goes down. There's a temporary transition time period, and then another head returns with the original one that wasn't killed, and then you repeat, and the game changes based on which heads have spawned on the back and which ones are active in the front. When the heads are far away, a fire head will do an instant amount of damage on a random raider, plus put a 30-second dot on them. Dispelling the dot drops a fire zone, so that raider must leave the stack as quickly as possible, then be dispelled. The Frost Head will do Torrent of Ice, which will pick a random raider and chase them with a beam for 8 seconds. It's a zone denial on the path and does damage. It slows anyone who goes into those beams, and if you draw the ice over the fire, it will put out the fire. The Poison in the distance will do a Venom bolt of acid at a random raider's location. You'll have a few seconds to move, and the further away you are from the bolt drop's position, the less damage you take. This is very important if this is ever to happen, and it's very damaging, and therefore in most strategies you avoid killing as much venom heads as possible. When the heroic only arcane head is active in the back, it does a summon netherworms ability where they will be collected by the current tanks and interrupted and lightly cleave, but otherwise not concentrated until you're in the transition between heads. When a head is close, it does a frontal cone that does its unique type of damage, where it's fire damage plus a dot, or frost damage plus some freezes, or something that's themed to the head. Plus, when one head is killed, it frenzies the one that wasn't killed. And so theoretically, you're supposed to go back and forth between the current heads, so no existing head continuously builds a frenzy up and up and up. At any one time, there'll be 2 heads in the close manner against the shoreline, and so each tank will take one of them, take debuffs, and swap at 1 or 2 stacks depending on their damage intake capabilities. When they're swapping, it can get a little dicey, so be ready to do healing while they swap. On Heroic, there's a few changes. A Cinder Far Off application will drop a Void Zone every 3 seconds instead of on Dispel, so the raider has to get out as soon as possible and then be dispelled as soon as possible, so we don't spam the raid zone with the fire zones. The Icy Ground that is dropped from the beam that chases the raider on the ice head grows until it's removed. The Poison does 3 acid balls instead of 1, and therefore it is super dangerous on Heroic, so much so that we avoid killing venom heads as much as possible on Heroic. So what's the strategy? Well, the raid stacks together roughly in the center of the map. We avoid killing venom heads, ideally killing frost heads if we have the choice, and we do casual cleave on netherworms, which are tanked beside the active head. We clean them up between the head resets, we interrupt abilities when we can, and we do quick dispels on cinders because they do the void every 3 seconds. You get out quick if you're targeted, and you kite ice beams far away from the raid so that we minimize the amount of usable space that is stolen from us by its expanding presence.